Oh, wait. It's all
If you don't want to be on film, don't walk in front. And let's come up to the front. Come up to the front. Because this is going to be a discussion one.
You gotta go. I appreciate it.
Yeah, come up to the front. Come on up to the front. We've already started recording, but come on up.
Okay.
We've already started recording, but come on up. Bring peace. Bring your coffee. Bring your muffin top thing. What muffin?
It's just a muffin.
Oh, regular muffin. Wonderful. My favorite kind of muffin is the blueberry with the sugar crystals on top.
Yeah, those are good.
With some low-fat butter. That's the way I roll. That's the way I roll. That is like my favorite breakfast by far. I'm not even gonna kid. I'm not kidding. Like maybe some like scrambled eggs with like some sausage, maple sausage links on the side. That would be ideal breakfast.
Sounds delicious.
Thank you. Every once in a while, a cinnamon roll is good too. But anyways, I digress. Okay, so last time we were talking about how to tackle an AP English literature prompt. We were talking about poetry in particular. What we're going to do today is we're going to continue to look at the Sir Philip Sidney poem, Thou Blind Man's Mark. Okay, that's what we were looking at last class. And what I thought we would do is we were going to evaluate a model essay. Okay, I know I said last time I was going to write the essay. If there's any time today, I'll start writing the essay. But to be honest with you, I think that we need to look at a model before we can actually start crafting. Okay, because I want to take a look at what's good, what's bad. And I need you all to ask questions, like why is it that people look for certain elements within a prompt response, okay? If it gets a little bit dry, if you need to get up, then just tell me or just do it, okay? Now, again, you guys need to know that you have to go to this AP, morning ladies, make sure you grab one of each, okay? You need to go to this AP Central website. You need to go. And again, on Vision, I'm just passing time here real quick for Olivia and Kendra. But right here, please, the AP terms are here. The practice exams for all of your practice exams are there. Model essays, which is what we're looking at right now. And then the English literature exam calculator, which will calculate out your score. Okay? Which is pretty neat. Look at all these things. They've been there the entire year. Please look at those bad boys. So what we're looking at is we're looking at the 2012 free response. Okay, we're looking at the prompts are given there for you from all the release tests, and then they give you 3 sample responses for each one of the essays. A good one, a mediocre one, and one that's not so good. Okay, and you guys are going to be scoring the essay that we take a look at today. All right. So how do we tackle a prompt? Let's just review real quick. Let me go back to full screen. Sorry for the review for some of you that were here. Sorry, my graphic. Not part of my transition. I'll work on that. Now, the first thing you need to do when answering a prompt, the very, very, very first thing, okay? After reading your poem, you need to, of course, come up with a quasi-thesis. You need to say, the blank by blank is about blank. Knock that down, okay? And again, it needs to be something relevant. We discussed this one is about desire, but you need to take it a step further. You can't just say, all right, guys, done. Case closed. Thank you very much. No. You need to move on, and you need to add an opinion statement about the human condition or about humanity. These are things that are necessary within answering your prompt. Why? Because why do we read? I know it seems like a philosophical question, but honestly, like, why do we read? Why do we read poetry? Why do we read prompts? Why do we read passages? Why do we read books? As C.S. Lewis said, we read to know that we're not alone. Okay? So you need to point out exactly why it is that this poem is still important to us, even though it was written in the 16th century. Okay? So, getting back. Keeping that in mind, let's look at the poem. All right, everyone has a copy of the poem? Let's take a look. Okay, Again, not the most exciting poem for most of us because it was written in the 16th century. But let's take a look. This will be the third time we've read it, so for some of you it'll be the first time. So we'll read it at least 2 more times today. Thou blind man's mark, thou fool's self-chosen snare, fond fancy scum and dregs of scattered thought, band of all evils, cradle of causeless care, thou web of will whose end is never wrought, desire. Desire, I have too dearly bought, with price of mangled mind thy worthless ware, too long, asleep thou hast me brought, who should my mind to higher things prepare? But yet in vain thou hast my ruin sought, in vain thou madest me to vain things aspire, in vain thou kindlest all thy smoky fire, for virtue hath this better lesson taught, within myself to seek my only higher, desiring not, but how to kill desire. And it's really funny because for me, like I read this poem, and I know you don't have to agree with me, but the imagery that comes to mind with me, and I would certainly put this within my essay response, is that I honestly see like those Saturday morning cartoons. I do. I see like Adventureland and like, is it Adventureland? Adventure Time. Sorry, honestly, that cartoon's really strange to me. But I see like these cartoons. I see like this evil person that just like wants to like $1 billion, just like wants to take out the world. Like just a fruitless like endeavor. Like I want to get rid of desire. I want to get rid of desire. Like really? So that's what I see with the speaker. I just see like this guy turning really evil and like, you know. Does anyone else? Maybe I'm by myself. That's okay. I've been there before. I'll be there again. Okay? So let's look at the prompt. Read the poem one more time. This time take out your writing utensil and write down some notes. Okay? That will help you answer this prompt. In the following poem by Sir Philip Sidney, the speaker addresses the subject of desire. Read the poem carefully, then write a well-developed essay in which you analyze how poetic devices help to convey the speaker's complex attitude toward desire. And of course, for me, being a Bob Dylan fan, I think of his album Desire, and I think about The Hurricane, and I think about all these songs that are actually on the album, and I think about how can I weave these things in. And some of you would sit there and go, well, I kind of wonder, should I be weaving contemporary issues and modern ideas within my prompt? The answer is no. Really, you should just be attacking this particular prompt, okay? And we're going to discuss why, all right? Because some people like to get creative with their prompt. Don't be creative. Just attack the prompt, okay? So what is he saying, all right? How did the poetic devices help to convey the speaker's complex attitude toward desire, okay? Here we go. Thou blind man's mark, one more time. Thou blind man's mark, his target. Thou fool's self-chosen snare. Fond fancy scum and dregs of scattered thought. Band of all evils, cradle of causeless care. Okay, obviously negative connotation right there attached to desire. You're stupid if you desire things and you go after them. Like seriously, why can't you just chill and watch TV all day? Really, that's what it is. Like why should you go after like those things that you're like really passionate about? You're gonna fail, you know? Kind of like his desire to like kill desire later on is fruitless. I mean, do you see how complex this poem actually is? Okay? Alright. Thou web of will, whose end is never wrought, desire. Desire, I have too dearly bought, with price of mangled mind, thy worthless ware. Too long, asleep thou hast me brought, who should my mind to higher things prepare? But yet, in vain, thou hast my ruin sought. In vain, thou madest me to vain things aspire. In vain, thou kindlest all thy smoky fire. Definitely an anaphora there, right? You see the repetition of vain, okay? For virtue hath this better lesson taught, within myself to seek my only higher or reward, desiring not, but how to kill desire. Okay, brilliant. I mean, seriously, for a 16th century poem, it's not bad, okay? You have to understand the complexity there, and for the 4th time, some of you reading this, sitting and go, oh, well, I can kind of dig this. And why is it that we have to read poetry 4 times? Sometimes you have to read it a few more times than that, especially if it's T.S. Eliot, okay? Or Sylvia Plath for that matter, okay? But anyway, this is a good poem. It's a good poem. It's a good one to analyze. Let's look at a model essay, all right? And I want you to tell me what you think this essay deserves, okay? And of course, we're looking at the generic AP exam rubric, which bases your essays out of 9 points, okay? Zeros are very few and far between. Ones are a little bit rare as well, unless someone just sits there and says, forget it, I'm just going to draw a caricature on this essay space. I don't really care. They just give up at that point. That hardly ever happens, because remember, we have 3 essays that we need to write. I always do that. Why? I need to have like 2 sets of markers. My apologies, Sarah. I promise I won't knock over your coffee. I always do that. Like, I just need to, maybe I should get like one of those pocket protectors and just keep it in there. That would be really cool. Of course, I wear sweaters a lot. I'm like Mr. Rogers that way. Just kidding. There's a statue of him in the Pittsburgh airport.
Really?
Yeah, it's really interesting. Morning. Make sure you grab one of each, man. So you have 3 essays. You have the poetry essay. Okay, remember it's either going to be a discussion of 1 poem or a comparative analysis of 2. You have your prose. Okay, you're going to be given a passage. Okay, you have to analyze that passage. And then, of course, you have your free response, which will be on any novel that you've read for the year. Okay? I think some of you are going to use, the majority of the people use on the AP exam, they either use Invisible Man, or they tend to go with something like Life of Pi. And I think that this year the substitution is going to be C.S. Lewis. And I have a feeling that some of you will be using C.S. Lewis. Okay? So I think that that's where most people are going to go with this. Although some people use Ayn Rand, okay, but the majority of people use Invisible Man. Okay? But your free response. This is how much time I always tell people allocate, because you have 2 hours. Okay? How much time? I always tell people 60 minutes. Right here. Free response. And the remainder of the time in the poetry and prose. Okay? Here. You need to encapsulate your essay with textual support. Why? Because the text's actually there. You need to saturate your essay with textual support. For your response, it would be awesome if you memorized 3 lines, at least, from your book to pop into that essay. Figure out how to do it. That would be great. Okay? All right. So let's look at this essay, please. Okay? And then I want you to tell me what it scores. I want to see some debate. All right, make some comments where you see things, negative, positive, what you like, what you dislike about this particular essay. Either one is fine, okay? In his poem entitled Thou Blind Man's March, Sir Philip Sidney characterizes desire as a force able to take control of a man's mind. Do you guys notice? That's exactly what I want you all to do. Right there, okay? The book. By who? Is about what? And reveals what? That, right away. Attack the prompt. No fluff. No fluff. It's not a cappuccino. Seriously, like, just get down to the coffee maker. Alright, that's it. Bad analogy. I like cappuccino. Consequently, this man strives, and I'm really sorry, for shallow, material satisfaction as opposed to true self-fulfillment. The speaker's contempt for desire is clearly portrayed in his harsh description of it and the effect it has had on him, as well as his declaration that he will no longer yield to its power. Comment on the introduction. Let's throw it out there. What do you think?
Good.
Why?
It's very focused, and the thesis is very good.
Okay. What else? You don't have to believe it's good. You can say it's bad.
He definitely used strong language.
How so? Where?
Just like the words he chose. He says he strives for material satisfaction as opposed to true self-fulfillment. That's a strong way of phrasing that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you all are capable of doing this too, even though you're going to sit there and go, oh my gosh, I had to write 3 essays, oh my god, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You just attack the prompt. Read the poem 4 times. And remember what I said, just kind of mouth it, because you can't obviously read it out loud, okay? And then sit there and go, oh, eureka, I got it. I got it. And throw what you see from the poem onto the paper. And this is what this person sees, just nonstop content. Greedy person, okay? Far out. The poem begins with a series of accusatory phrases, each of which frame a negative aspect of desire as viewed by the speaker. He calls desire a blind man's mark, implying that no man able to see desire for what it really is would willingly be attracted to it. When he says blind, the speaker does not literally mean a person whose eyes are damaged or defective. In context, a blind man is one who lacks a sense of direction or a vision for the future, thus making him susceptible to the manipulating forces of desire. Desire preys upon the blind and lures in the fools because they are easily beguiled into thinking that lusting after one's desires is all there is to life. The speaker claims desire can reduce men to just dregs of scattered thought, which illuminates the speaker's perception of desire as a sort of monster, capable of ripping a man's mind to shreds, destroying his natural sense of intuition and reason, and replacing it with incohesive, raggedy desires. Man's ability to form his own thoughts has been replaced by his obsession with his desires, a crime for which the speaker considers desire to be the band of all evils. This is quite a hefty condemnation, and it reflects the feelings of the speaker. He uses 7 phrases in the first 4 lines alone to declare his passionate feelings towards desire. This extensive list of insults, coupled with the fact that the speaker personifies desire and endows it with malevolent, monster-like qualities, demonstrates that the speaker genuinely does feel that desire is a combination of all evils known to man. Comment, please. You're allowed to say, "I'm in awe." I mean,
that was really good.
It was really good.
Strong essay. Yeah.
Did you notice, like, and this is why I'm stopping. Did you notice within his diatribe that he also invokes those poetic devices? What did he discuss? He or she?
Well, personification.
Yeah, personification, absolutely. That was the easiest one. It was the last one that was mentioned.
Yeah.
Personification is put in there. Nice. What else?
Connotation.
Connotation, very good. Word choice. Okay. Also discussing the form of the poem. Okay. Discussing where, when you sit there and you say there are 7 insults in a certain number of lines, like, they understand the poem. That's great. Like, sit there and, like, count the number of times something's repeated and put that in there. That's going to help you invariably. You notice that this is not about let me see what you guys get out of this. What are you noticing about this particular essay? What is it discussing?
The speaker.
Discussing the speaker, sure. This is what I want you to know. This is important because I don't think that you guys have had enough practice with this, and I feel badly about that. Okay? Right here. The human condition. You notice that that's all that he's really talking about? The human condition. That's what they're discussing. They're discussing that everybody does this. Okay? This particular speaker is really, really harsh on desire. But we all do it at some point or another, he argues. Okay? It's very interesting. Let's continue on. He says, "I have too dearly bought with price of mangled mind thy worthless ware," revealing that his attitude stems from his personal experience with the power of desire to run a man's mind. The speaker especially laments that his mind was wasted on desire when it should have been preparing to higher things of more substance and value. Again, notice the textual support weaved throughout the assertions, backdrop of the assertion as well. Okay, not always directly say, like, in this particular quote we see this. No, he is embedding it within his assertion. He makes claim this. He says this. That's important. However, the speaker also offers a glimmer of hope and severs his mind's ties to desire. After describing the force of desire as an evil one, he proclaims he will no longer be victim to it. But yet in vain thou hast my ruin sought. In vain thou kindlest all thy smoky fire. The speaker makes 3 consecutive claims that desire has attempted in vain to lead him down the wrong path. This repetition emphasizes the speaker's liberation at having cast off the shackles of desire. He has regained the power of his own mind, and in doing so has regained a powerful sense of self. No longer controlled by his desires or even distracted by the spark or smoke desire may create to try to lure him back, he professes a new goal. Within myself to seek my only higher, desiring naught but to kill desire. The conclusion of the poem provides a significant resolution. The speaker has learned to look inward and not outward to find true fulfillment. And the only desire he will follow is the desire to fight manipulating forces which attempt to rob him of his autonomy. Oh my gosh. I don't think I can write an essay this good. Comments before we finish the last paragraph?
I like the way he says everything's really eloquent, and I completely agree with what you said about how, like, a lot of the times we'll write about the topic of the poem and not really what it means.
Right.
And he does, like, a really graceful job of discussing, like, what it's about and then, like, how it actually connects to, like, humanity.
Yeah. And there's something really important. I thought Mandy was going to go a different direction. I think she still might after when I ask this question, but we're going to reread the prompt. And I want to see if you think that this person actually fulfills the requirements of the prompt. Okay? Let's go on. The speaker's portrayal of desire as a powerful enemy to the freedom of his own mind highlights the difficulty of maintaining control over one's own mind when faced with adversaries that are alluring or manipulative. Through his struggle with and subsequent defeat of the force of desire, the speaker inspires us to do the same with similar forces in our lives. So, let's reread the prompt. In the following poem by Sir Philip Sidney, the speaker addresses the subject of desire. Clearly. Read the poem carefully, then write a well-developed essay in which you analyze how poetic devices help to convey the speaker's complex attitude toward desire. Comment. Did they fulfill the prompt?
Yes, but, like, that's not what the main focus of the essay was, I feel. Like, he talked about poetic devices in the work, like, but that wasn't his main idea for his essay.
So my question is, should points be deducted if that's not the major focus? I mean, that's what the prompt is asking.
Why should they be deducted if he still tackles, like, what was in there?
Aha! This is what is going to aggravate some of you. Mandy is 100% correct. And I've said this to some of you for the past 2 years. If there is a really, really well-written essay, I cannot penalize you if you don't address the prompt 100% of the time. I can't. If it is as good as this essay. Just like there are certain people in your classes, sometimes for 2 years in a row, who don't cite text. Ever. But they still write a magnificent essay. I can't deduct points. Some people always get 100% on their essays because they're so brilliant. The fluency is there, the voice is so strong. And what is this essay? Exactly just that. Are poetic devices mentioned? Yes, but briefly. One thing I want you to really get away from this essay more than anything else is this. And I know that a lot of people out there disagree with me vehemently, and I've said this before, but you need to get away from this. Well, clearly, there are metaphors, and let's go ahead and talk about the metaphors here in paragraph number 1. Onomatopoeia, that's just brilliant stuff. Let's discuss that in paragraph 2. And then finally, my favorite bad boy, personification. Let's discuss. And you know, some people like to discuss personification as anthropomorphism. Let's do that. This is going to be the most boring essay on the face of the planet if those are your body paragraphs. Stay away from discussing metaphors in one whole paragraph. Don't do it. This is why I want you to go away from the recursive 5-paragraph essay, besides the other stuff involved. Capiche? Okay, ask questions.
Do you think that this was a good approach to the essay? Even
Yes.
though he didn't, like, completely... I mean, you were always talking about attacking the prompt. She didn't attack the prompt.
Oh, yes, definitely she did. Here she did.
I mean, it says, in the developed essay in which you analyze how poetic devices, like that's the very first instruction, and like that was not his or her first take on it.
Right, and that's why I'm trying to teach you to do this from the very beginning. I want you to attack by saying the poem, Thou Blind Man's Mark by Sir Philip Sidney is about desire and reveals what? That's what I want you to do. I want you to follow this particular formula, if you would, because that's what this person did, right? I mean, there are so many key elements that you need to have within your essay. You need to have the poem, you need to have the author, you need to have the speaker, you need to know what the theme is, and you need to talk about the human condition. So I'm going to disagree with you, okay? And it's okay. You don't have to believe me all the time.
No, I was just asking what you thought.
No, I think that they attacked the prompt really well. Did they answer the prompt? No. But like I've always told you, it is impossible for me to sit there and look at certain classmates of yours' essays and say this deserves anything less than a 98, 99, or 100. I simply cannot do it. Yes, you forgot to put in textual support, and that drives me absolutely crazy. You didn't even reference the book at all in certain paragraphs. But you know what? Your arguments are too awesome. Your assertions are too strong. And your contemporary examples are too good. And that's the way we need to write. So I need you to chillax. Like, read the poem. If you understand the poem, then just pop it in there. Just go. Just go. So, let's take a look, shall we? Let's see how we should craft this. Now, just minor review. Okay? You need to look for certain devices. We know most of these. Tone, figurative language, imagery, structure, point of view, speaker, title. Saw how this author, very, very few and far between, but references devices for poetry. Okay? Okay? Poetic forms and techniques. Again, we took a look at this last time. I'm not going to bore all of you guys. But you need to take a look at the primary ones: anaphora, ballad, I like the bop, cinquain, dramatic monologue, elegies, epics. You know most of these, okay? Okay. Note the title. And notice how the author, did the author talk about the title in this? Briefly, okay? Briefly, he talks about blind, okay? And of course, the poem's called "Thou Blind Man's Mark." So he talks about how you look at, you know, a blind person, not necessarily like literally, but you can look at him like Oedipus, if you would. Oedipus is blind throughout the play, and then at the end he tears out his eyes or pops peruches in them, and then he becomes literally blind in addition to being figuratively blind. Independent clauses in the poem and read them individually. Okay, did the speaker, did the writer do that? Absolutely. Grab individual phrases and pop them within their particular essay. Place boxes around vivid words. Okay, I would definitely do that. They mentioned in vain, in vain, in vain. That was mentioned. The repetition there. And note figurative language like similes, metaphors, personification, all that stuff. Okay, so please make sure that you're able to do all those things. All right. So, right now, and we'll be adding to that on Wednesday, let's take a look at how we should attack this bad boy. And some of you are going to be a lot better at answering a prompt on poetry than you are on prose. It's just the way it is. It's unfair. Let's go with the old 48, all right? Now, I always like to do this, okay? I always like to start off with, it is evident. And you guys know that because you've seen me do it 8,000 times before, okay? But I like to get right into your face. I want my essay to be noticed by the reader because I don't know if this is going to be the first essay that they're reading for the day, the third, the 40th, or the 187th, okay? Remember, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, most AP readers spend about 3 minutes per essay. And that's generous. 3 minutes. Okay? We won't discuss the ethics involved with people who read a little bit faster. but it might have something to do with money. I don't know. So let's attack this bad boy, okay? So it is evident that the poem, and we put poems in quotation marks, okay? Bless you. And which way do you want to go with this? Again, I see the cartoonish type of thing where this guy's, you know, hopelessly trying to like fight off the rain. You know what I mean? Like, what do you guys see? Nothing? Scruzita is 8:37 on a Monday. In April, soon to be May, we know nothing. That's why we're taking the exam in the first place. Let me show you how I would take it, okay? It's about desire and how now, one thing I'm going to say is I've already broken one of the rules, which is what?
Us.
Yes. Okay, we need to get rid of first person somehow. Okay? So let me go back to this. Rather burns within. There you go. Get rid of that first person. We're going to discuss those small things later on. Alright, comment. Let's make this a little bit smaller.
It's going straight to her point of the prompt.
Okay?
What he's trying to say about desire.
And yet, what have I not done?
Put in.
Yeah, there's no discussion of literary devices. Okay? Remember, your thesis statement does not have to deal directly with the poetic devices. How do we weave those in? We just pop them into our body paragraphs. Okay? So, just like the other writer did, okay, they weaved in small things like personification, repetition, and all that stuff. They weaved them within their essay. Okay? So, One desire to be a fool. So with this particular essay, what you're able to do is you're really able to wax philosophy. You know, do you notice that? With regards to the prose ones, you won't be able to do that as much. Okay? So what we're going to do next time is, let's finish this bad boy up, okay, because it's already 45 after. Let's finish this bad boy up. I'll save this file, all right? And then I want us to take a look at a subpar essay, if you would. So try not to look at that one on AP Central, but let's look at a subpar essay, and then let's discuss why it's subpar, okay, and discuss the elements. And I think that you'll see what it is that I'm trying to say, all right? Now, I won't be here tomorrow because I have jury duty, which is cool. I'm down with that. But I will be here early on Wednesday, all right? So let's bring our A game. We're going to finish this bad boy up. Mandy?
I just had a quick question about your breakdown of the three essays. Why would you have us spend 60 minutes on the free response if they're all weighted the same?
Oh, good question. Okay. And then I'll finish out here. Why do I want most of the time spent on the free response essay? Here's why. The free response is going to be the most difficult by far. Because what is it that we're going to run into doing with the free response?
Summarize the book.
We're going to summarize the book. Nobody wants to read a summary of a book. Okay? We have to talk about issues. You have to craft that essay masterfully so that you're not summarizing the plot. If you provide a plot summary, you're going to get killed. You really are. That's why I want us to memorize certain parts of our text and discuss the human condition how we see fit. All right? Okay. So next time, I'll finish this essay. Let's comment. Let's look at a subpar essay, and then we're going to start looking at an essay on prose. All right? Cool. Have a wonderful day. I will see some of you in about 15 minutes. Peace. Oh, sign in, please.